Crank up the volume and get ready for real-world bird hunting by listening to the Wingmen podcast by Eastman's. Now your host, Todd Helms.
Talk about being on the X.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Wingmen podcast. And I think we're sitting at episode 44. And I am fortunate enough to have on Corey Wages with me from SOK Tanglefoot. You guys know that I got a Wingmen and thus I got an SOK pup this summer. And Hondo is his name. He is a ball of fire. He's awesome. And Corey is the man that whelped that pup. And he's kind of the reason that I have Hondo. Hondo's an SOK Tanglefoot dog. And Corey, we couldn't be happier with him, man. He is awesome, as you told me he would be. Thank you for being on the podcast with us.
Hey, Todd. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate the invitation. I'm glad to hear the news about Hondo.
Oh, dude, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to leave that place with that puppy that day. You were like, I tell you, I'll keep this dog. I'll give you your money back.
That's right. That's right. He was, if I had pick of the litter, he would have been mine. No special reason other than, you just, when you're around a litter of puppies, one just kind of gravitates to you. And I expect the same performance out of all of them, but at the same time, he was kind of my favorite. So I'm glad you got him.
Well, I appreciate that. And he has been awesome so far, just progressed through training really, really well. And I think he's about eight months now, roughly. And I think a lot of guys would have him in the field hunting him right now. And I know he'd be picking up birds. There's no doubt in my mind about that. The bird drive is crazy with him. And I can't, if I bring birds home from a hunt, he's all over them, and he'll carry him around. He wants those birds. No doubt in my mind, he would do it, but I don't want to make bad habits. You know what I mean?
I agree. The worst mistake a lot of people make is they're really excited about their puppy. They're really excited. They bought the puppy for a purpose, and the hardest thing in the world to do is to wait. So the worst mistake people make is rushing it too fast, starting bad habits, or not introducing the dog slowly enough to lots of gunfire and lots of things going on that goes on in the duck blinds. It's a recipe for disaster to go too early. So I'm proud of you for waiting and generalizing that training and maybe next season, let's get after a little more.
Yeah. And that's kind of the plan. I think I told you, I've had him out one time, just me and my daughter. And it was like, it wasn't even a hunt. It was just, if we could knock a bird down, cool, but it wasn't like all the guys in the blind and the chaos of morning and throwing decoys, it wasn't anything like that. And I'm not going to do that to him yet. Yeah. I did that to Mackinac. I've done that to my other labs that I've had in the past, and it turned out okay. But there were a lot of things that at 9 years old, Mackinac is now like Mr. Steady,
Yeah.
But it's taken a while for us to get there because I pushed it early, right. and he just developed some bad habits.
Exactly. Truthfully, we've all done it, if we're honest. I mean, our first dog, we can't wait. We want to get out there and show off to our buddies and good pictures and, be really proud of our dog. And so we've all done it. And I know that it's easy for people like me to say when I've got, 5 other dogs that I can hunt, so that I can raise a puppy a lot slower and really generalize that training and solidify a lot of things. So, the one dog people that's got their first dog or just their one dog, it's hard to wait. I understand that, but I promise you, it will be for the better.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And that was where I did not want to screw this up, and because there's no doubt he's ready to go. We're sitting on the riverbank and I got Mackinac and Hondo sitting steady, throw a bumper in the river, mark. And I've gotten to the point where Mackinac won't go until I tell it, call his name.
Right.
But Hondo's like, let me go, Dad, let me go. And I've got my wife there or I'm holding him. I just have like a slip lead, and I don't even have it around his neck, over his head. I just got it like doubled up to hold him in place. And Hondo, and I let him, and dude, he's out of the gates. I mean, he doesn't hit the water for 20 feet. You know what I mean? He's just like off the bank. And I'm super, super stoked for next year to spend the rest of this year and all summer working drills and making him steady. So we get to the point where, especially next year, because I won't be able to lean on Mackinac at 10 years old the way I have even this year. Like we were out, I had Ramsey Russell out. He came out and hunted with us, and we're dropping the video for that hunt tomorrow, actually, on the YouTube channel. And we hunted Ramsey's dog the first day. And then the second day we hunted him together because we were hunting a bigger piece of river. And there were some geese and stuff involved. And I said, let's take them both. And boy, old Mackinac boy was like, boom, Mr. Steady. And it was super cool. And to the point where I'd tell him to go, I'd say, Mackinac. And he'd look at me like, you sure?
Yeah.
Yes, get him, and so that's kind of the goal. We'll get there. But you said you're running 5 dogs. I'm going to back us up a little bit, because I talk about you're with SOK Tanglefoot is kind of your deal, your baby. You're mixed in with Southern Oak Kennels, obviously, a subsidiary or a franchise. I don't know what you guys call it, but how did you get involved working with Barton and start SOK Tanglefoot?
Yeah, so Barton and I met several years back. I think it would have been back in 2014 or 15, and we just met. Honestly, we met through church.
Okay,
a mutual friend, and met through church, and got to having lunch every so often, and got to talking training, and doing, and we kind of aligned a lot there. And he offered, he's like, man, I've got a field trial winner. Her name is Diver back home. And she's, she could use a little work, a little rusty. If you in the fam, I just had my first daughter. So we had a young one. He's like, so if you're not interested, I understand. I know y'all got a lot going on. So, and I was like, no, I would really I'd like to get back into this. And so I would, let's do that. And honestly, when I told my wife that we were bringing home a dog that was going to live in the house, she was like, a Labrador in the house? And she wasn't entirely impressed with that idea. So I said, no, these are different. So anyway, I talked her into it, and the dog's name is Diver. So if you know the stud dog from SOK North, which is Hank,
yep,
that is his mom. Diver is his mom. So
okay.
I had her, and got to work with her a good bit. And I would go to some group training sessions with Barton, and he would be really proud of the work that she was doing at that time. And so she came into season that first season, and he said, man, we got to get you a dog, because keep her, he wanted to take her back breed. So we got to get you another dog. So he sends me Amy. Amy is the cornerstone of SOK Tanglefoot. And so I was 2 years old, and she has taught me probably more than I taught her. She has taken me on a ride, but my family and I will be forever grateful for Amy. She's now retired from having litters. She's still hunting with me. She's 6 years old and 7 years old. Yeah, she's 7 years old. And anyway, after working with Amy and getting her rolling pretty good, Barton had a client dog. He's like, hey, would you be interested in working this dog? I said, yeah. So now I've got 2 dogs, and then those dogs just kept building, and here we are 6 years later.
It's like a Labrador snowball.
That's exactly.
That is cool, man. So what all does that entail? I mean, you're obviously, what do you do in conjunction with Barton? I mean, you're taking dogs in, you're training, but walk us through that.
Yeah. So basically, Barton is the orchestrator of all. I'm sitting in a bank now. I'm a full-time banker. It's my 9 to 5. And so I take client dogs during the daylight savings times, when it stays light or longer. And so I can get off work and drive couple of minutes down the road, and I have a handful of dogs, and I can train those until dark or so, and I only have 2 to 3 litters per year. But Barton kind of orchestrates all of that because I'm busy here at the bank and busy with the dogs. So he basically he designs the breedings. I say designs them. He plans the breedings. He takes all the applications and sells the puppies. And when it comes time to for me to have more dogs, client dogs, he links me up with the people that want them trained, and so he takes care of most of the communication, and I just take care of the back end.
Okay, cool, cool.
Worked very well for me since, like I said, I have this job, and it's good for us. It works well.
No, that's awesome. You said something there during daylight savings time when we have light, because I don't know what you guys deal with for daylight hours this time of year, but I'm 8 to 5 at my desk job, sitting here in this office as the editor, and my day usually starts about 5 a.m. I get both my dogs out, and we're walking for 45 minutes to an hour. I'll throw on a 50 or 75 pound backpack and just go for, an hour with both the dogs. And it's just exercise, it's just get out of the house and air out. And then lunchtime, come home, eat, and back to work. In the summertime, no big deal, because we can go work for, an hour or two, whatever, with the dogs. Man, this time of year, I'm walking Hondo in particular, because Mac's 9 years old. Like you said, this summer, you're like, the hay's in the barn with that one. I'll throw bumpers, like fun bumpers for him a little bit. But dude, I'm just wearing him out if I'm out there running drills. It's like he knows what he's doing. But with Hondo, reinforcing that, bring the fetch to heel, the steadiness, the hold. I mean, all those things, marking.
Right.
I'm walking down the street a half a block to this giant church complex. It's like half a city block, and I'm running drills under the mercury lights, in the dark. Because I don't have any other options.
Yeah, that's right. You have to use what you have available. Like I said, I take client dogs from during the springtime, and it works out well for us. I take dogs in back in the spring, and they go home right before duck season. Everybody wants their dog home for duck season, and the time has changed and it's dark, and I'm ready to go hunting as well. So I'll take my dog, do a lot of traveling, and get to sharpen my dogs up on that. And then after duck season, take a small break, and me and the family usually take a vacation, because days are long in the summer and then duck season. So we take a little small vacation during the break after duck season, January 31st. I won't take a dog until March 15th. So we take us a small break, take us a small vacation, catch our breath, and go again. So yeah.
Sounds like you got a program dialed there, man. I like that.
It fits us well.
No, that's cool. That's, that's something you hit the nail on the head there. It's between balancing Wingmen stuff with training a dog, working dogs, getting hunts filmed, and then helping out on the big game side of things for Eastman's. Yeah. Hunting season starts about the middle of August around here, and it doesn't stop until goose season ends the middle of February.
Yeah.
And so it's like, by the time end of February rolls around, my wife's like, can we take a long weekend someplace and, go ditch the kids and get a hotel and just kind of unwind and so making that time to go do family stuff is so important.
It's really important. And that's what a lot of people might not understand is, your family sacrifices on this kind of thing. They do it for the good of the family. But they, I'm gone a lot in the summer. The day starts, you were talking earlier about your day, and my day starts around, we'll get up around 5. My wife has to take off and go to the school. We've got the 15th of this month. We'll have, I guess next week, we'll have a 1-year-old.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. My 6-year-old just started kindergarten this year. So my wife takes the 1-year-old, and they head off to daycare and to work. And I after they take off to daycare and to work. I'm airing dogs and come back and get the 6-year-old ready to go to school and carry her to school and drop her off, go to work, come home, air dogs at lunch, go back to work, get out. Once you get off work, you go home, you air dogs, you load dogs up, you start training. You train till dark, then you pick everything up and you go in and kiss everybody good night and you start over. It's a
grind.
It's a grinding time in the deer training season. And then duck season, obviously. I typically don't stay gone too long during duck season. Again, I've got this job too, but I'll take a long weekend. I usually save all my and travel around and do my duck hunting and come home and take care of the family the rest of the time.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, speaking of duck hunts, you said you've been out a little bit. Where you been? How was it?
It was great. I actually went down to Providence City, Texas for the Lifetime Decoy. They always host a opening teal weekend. So I went down there and enjoyed that a whole lot. Got to see a lot of people that I get to see there every year. And of course, always enjoy that trip. And then
JJ, big JJ there.
Yeah, shout out to JJ. JJ's got a dog from us. His dog Rain. Yeah, I actually kept a litter mate out of his litter.
Okay.
So that was Amy's retirement litter. So it was Arden and Amy. And so on Amy's retirement litter, I'm obviously going to keep one. So I kept one. So now he and I share litter mates.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I've been there. We had a great time there with Lifetime Decoys. And then I went to Arkansas, did a spec hunt with, it's just a good buddy hunt. Some of my best friends, Jason Howell and Aaron Carter. They are killers. They are get after it. They've secured some good land there, and they knock them out. So I got to spend a weekend with them there, and then I actually drove out to Oklahoma. I've got some buddies out there in Blue Jacket, Oklahoma, which is close to Vanitas. It's very northeast Oklahoma. And my buddy Jared Griffith out there is a weekend warrior. So I go out there and hunt with him a good bit. And actually this year he's hunting Fia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So Fia is Hondo's mother.
Yep.
And so Fia I went out there for the opening weekend of their duck season. And when I left, I just left Fia with him, and she's having a ball. She's picked up probably at this point, I think she's probably getting north of 100 now for trees.
Nice.
And so a good duck season for her. She needed it. She was tired of the training scenario, and she's having a blast. So I'm excited to get back out there soon and see her.
No, that's cool, man. She's I'm surprised she let you out of her sight. That when I was down there at Martin's place, the old place, and man, she was glued to you. She's
a very, very loyal dog. She's very loyal. She only cares to please you. She works very hard for you. There's nothing selfish about that dog. So I think a lot of her.
No, she is special. She is special. That is for sure and for certain. Yeah. So Hondo is, let's say Fia. Hondo is a cedar and Fia pup. And if I walked him into your office right now, you would look, other than the fact he's kind of lanky because he's, in that stage of development, you'd think you were looking at cedar.
Well, Cedar is perfectly easy on the eyes.
Yeah, he's very handsome dog and very sweet. The funny thing is he's got it, you still there?
I'm here. Sorry about that.
Nope, no worries. That happens. But having seen Fia and been around her a little bit that day, I see characteristics of her and him as well, where he is incredibly devoted. And I was home for lunch today. I let him and Mackinac in the house, they spend a lot. I've got a big enclosed backyard, so they spend most of their day in that backyard, and which is really nice, especially if my kids are back there playing. Those two dogs are in there. That kind of dissuades any shenanigans from outsiders. And but anyway, he came in and he was laying on his bed, and my 4-year-old went over and cuddled up next to him, and they took a nap together on the dog bed.
Yeah.
You know, but just that level of devotion and that willingness to please and that willingness to want to, that desire to work. You know, that dog never takes his eyes off me when we're in the field. I mean, he might sniff the air a little bit or something, but I see it. I see that. Like I said, he looks like his dad. I don't know Cedar other than just pictures, but some of those personality traits of Fia, I see in him.
Yeah. And you know, that's typically what we see is they're going to have some personality traits and from both mom and dad, but you know, that mom really puts a lot into her puppies. I mean, she's the first thing those puppies ever see, the first one that they ever meet. And so she kind of starts out molding the clay. So there's a lot to be said about the female on when it comes to breeding. So
yeah, you know, I think guys get and we're not going to dive into pedigrees by any stretch here, but right. I do think guys get caught up in, well, all they look at is a stud dog.
Right.
And it's like, man, it takes two. It takes two dogs to make a litter. And your dogs are a reflection of both their parents in certain aspects. And I don't know. It's interesting. I was super impressed with Thea, though, the little I saw her. I can't imagine. I'd love to hunt over her. I think that would be fun watching her pick up birds.
She's a lot of fun. She's a pocket rocket. She goes hard. She's got a big water entry. But again, she's very loyal. You know, I ran her through the HRC and did some tests with her, and she never failed the test. I mean, wow. I took her season. She went 4-4 through the season. I took her through the finish level. She went 4-4 there, and she was like, "What's next?" So I'm really proud of her. She's a nice dog.
No, that's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, you talk about HRC. I'm assuming you obviously do quite a bit of that.
Yeah, I do. I've enjoyed it. I started about 3 years ago. A buddy of mine told me I should come try. I was like, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I have enough time. And anyway, I went to the first one, and I was like, okay, I can do this. I know we can do this. So I went all in. And I've been getting after it pretty good. So had some good success. I'm looking forward to going to the Grand soon. I want to pick me out one and build a Grand dog and go to that level. I don't know which dog that's going to be yet, but we'll see. Well,
I think it'll be probably obvious when you find the right dog. You're going to find it, and it's going to be like, yep, this is my Grand dog right here.
Right.
That is super cool. Yeah, I've had a couple guys on the podcast that are local in Wyoming is relative, you know, like 300 miles away, and running tests out here is like full-time commitment. Because it's not just down the road. It's a long ways. And the guys I see, there's a little club down in Casper. Casper's about 3.5 hours. And they're like, dude, you got to come down. You got to run some tests, you know, just bring your dogs, and that'd be so much fun. I'd love to. I'd really love to, but to get into it, like,
yeah,
I got three little kids. I got, you know, full-time job, and I'm looking at traveling to Idaho and Southern Wyoming and places in Montana. And the logistics of it out here for me personally, just they preclude any activity in that. And because I'd love to do it. I think it'd be fun.
It is a ton of fun. I'm telling you, once you get involved and you get to know some people, and I mean, everybody roots for everybody. You're not competing against everybody. You're competing against the standard. And so everybody is for everybody. None of us want to see a dog fail. None of us rooting for that. So it turns into a family. You start seeing the same people, the same test all the time. You become friends, and you can get some training tips off each other, and it's a lot of fun. So we're fortunate enough here I started out, there weren't as many tests 3 years ago. There were tests, I would travel to Tennessee and Alabama and Arkansas. And but we've gotten to where there's more clubs kind of popping up closer. And this last year, I think I maybe only traveled and stayed away from home twice.
Nice.
The rest of them, I was able to drive, an hour or two down the road, run the test, drive an hour or two back for the fam. So,
if I could do that, I would totally jump in.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It gives you goals to get through with your dogs throughout the summer, throughout the training season, and you kind of see where your holes are. There's no training when you're testing. So you kind of say, oh, there's a slip up there. There's a hole in that part of my training. So you go back the next couple of weeks and you fill that hole, and it's a lot of fun, and it makes you, in my opinion, it makes you a better trainer and it makes you a better handler. You're around a lot of good trainers, you're around a lot of good handlers, and so you set goals to be as good as they are. So
sure. No,
yeah,
someday that's my wife was asking me, you have the conversations about, maybe when the kids are gone someday, which is a long ways off for me and you.
right.
But no, God willing, that's a long ways down the road. Absolutely.
I'm trying to convince my oldest one, you don't have to go anywhere, girl. You can just stay right here.
Yeah. And mine has, it's kind of funny. My 4-year-old and Hondo are besties, man. They are best friends. My little guy who's a year old, he was a year old in October. He likes the dogs. He and Hondo are buddies. Hondo's gotten pretty big for him now and knocks him over. It's a little rough on him, but I don't care. It just makes him tougher. But my oldest is all about horses. And as you can imagine, living out here, holy smokes, there's a horse in everybody's yard practically.
Oh yeah.
And she's got big designs on having horses. And so I would imagine that if I can figure out a way to put horses in a pasture someplace, and that will be in the future. And the funny thing is one of the reasons that I love Labrador retrievers so much is how versatile they are.
That's right.
We value them obviously as duck dogs, but my dogs get a ton of upland experience. Mackinaw's a phenomenal pheasant hunter. I haven't put Hondo on that yet because I want there to be some more controls in place before I just turn him loose on pheasants. And, but going in the mountains, and talk about bringing a puppy home to a completely different environment than what they grew up in. It doesn't get much different going from Mississippi to Wyoming. And, it's like this fall, it wasn't fall. It was, it would have been this fall, September, maybe October. We got 5-6 inches of snow, and I turned him out loose in the backyard. I said, "Hey, watch this." And he was like,
"Yeah, what is this?"
And then within 5 minutes, he's running around in it, and I'm throwing snowballs and he's catching them, and we're just playing, having a really good time, and he loved it. But having a dog that can go from be steady in the blind and do what you need it to do, and then go camping with the family in the summertime and goes on hikes and follows along on horseback. There's a bunch of outfitters here, big game outfitters, that everybody has dogs in their camps because of the grizzly bears. And those dogs are constantly, when you see a string of horses on a trail in the mountains, there's always dogs with them. The number of Labradors that you see is like staggering.
Right.
Like probably 60%, 50 to 60% of guys are running labs. And it's like, they don't wander off. They're smart. They're loyal. They're fierce. They're protective. They're sweet. They're nice. I mean, it's a perfect dog.
It is. I can't imagine a better breed. I'm just a Labrador guy. So it's a lot of fun to, when you have people, put in applications with us. It's like, well, the first several questions are, what do you want out of your dog? Do you want, it's a family pet? Do you want a test dog? Do you want a waterfowl dog? Do you want a shed hunting dog? What all do you want? Or you want them all? Guess what? The Labrador can do it. And so
do it all.
They can. They're a jack of all trades. That's for sure.
Well, it was funny. I said something that really got your attention down there this summer, and about, Hondo will eventually turn into a grizzly bear guard dog. And you were like, and you looked at me and you're like, what does that entail? And it's just going along on a big game hunt and being present. He is my eyes and my ears and a nose when I'm got my head down taking care of, business with an elk in grizzly country. Mackinac does that. Take him. And he saved our bacon 2 years ago. We had a bull down in the dark and a bear came in on us, and Mackinac, he doesn't attack the bear. He just barks like,
right.
Woo, 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 and lets me know, hey man, there's something here. And then it's like, okay. And I tell you what, you combine a dog with a couple of horses, those are pretty good bodyguards in grizzly bear country. They're not going to fight off a bear by any stretch, but they're letting you know that they're there. And it's awesome. But to have a dog that's steady enough and it's well behaved enough that is just there. He's just hanging out, hanging out. And yeah, it's huge. And I love my Labradors, man. I love them. And I know I've got buddies that run Drothars, German short hairs, all different kinds of dogs.
Right.
And they all love their dogs, and you should. Right. You got a dog, you should love it. But man, I don't know. There's something special about labs, man. I don't know what it is.
I agree. You won't get an argument here.
Well, I'm looking over your shoulder. That picture in the background has been catching my eye the entire time I've been talking to you. The dog, what dog is that?
That dog is one of our retired stud dogs. His name is Bubba.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Field trial champion we brought over from England, and we had him here for I think we kept him for 3 or 4 years and retired him, but he stayed with me, and he was a special dog to me. So I think Colin from Rock House in Motion actually took that picture down in Louisiana, and they sent me a copy of it, and I was like, man, do you mind if I blow that up? And he's like, man, that would be fantastic. So blew it up on a canvas and got to hang it in my office here at the bank. I've got a couple more in here of Amy and one of my other females, Ruby. So it always strikes a good conversation when you're sitting here at the bank and you got duck hunters and outdoorsmen come in to talk about lending money, and these things always strike up a good conversation. So good relationship building, but it makes me happy too to look around and see a Labrador.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at that picture and I'm like, I can't tell what dog it is from here, but I'm looking at him like there's good looking lab. There's a strap full of blue wing teal and a couple of fine over and under shotguns. And I'm like, that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot about a fella right there. I love it.
Yeah. It's hard to come here and look at these pictures and be sad.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, what else do you have planned for the year? What other hunts are you got anything in the hopper? We're in the meat and potatoes of it right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get on a few local hunts here with one of my buddies runs Southwest Ducks Club. His name is David Bowen. So I'll stick close for the next couple days, close to Christmas and stuff. But on the before Christmas on the 18th, I will ride back out to Jason Howell and Aaron Carter's place in Arkansas, and I'll hunt with them the 18th and 19th. And after that, since I'm already in Arkansas, I may take a couple of days off work and head on to Oklahoma and check on Fia and hunt a day or two there, and then drive back. And then after that, we'll have Christmas and then New Year's, and then I'll head back out to Oklahoma about 3 more times in January. I'm going to hunt with Clay Frost out in Stewart Ranch, Oklahoma. I'll hunt with him and my buddy Chance Hennig, and then I'll end duck season in Oklahoma, back with Jared to pick up Fia and bring her back home. So it's a lot of traveling for me, and it's a lot of fun though. I'm excited.
No, you should be. That sounds like an awesome trip. Yeah, we were talking about weather a little bit ago, and I'm hoping we're getting pretty good blizzard right now, and I'm hoping it pushes birds down and shuffles the deck and pushes birds all the way down into Oklahoma for you guys. That'd be super cool.
Yeah. Well, Jared and them always know the spots to go, so he always puts me on them when we're out there. I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
He and his wife Taylor are always very accommodating for me, and they put me up and put up with me, and so I appreciate them for sure.
Oh, that's cool, man. Well, the invitation out here is always open. Well, I'd love to have you. You want to get on an airplane and I'll pick you up, or if you want to bring the fam out in the summer sometime and visit, we'd love to have you guys. Cause we kind of hit it off there this last summer at Barton's old place, and
right.
It'd be fun to do some blind time if you get a wild hair. So
that would be fantastic, man. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it would be, it'd be a lot of fun, and we could
visit.
What's that?
I've never visited Wyoming, so I would love
it. It's time to come. You might have to make a couple trips, man. Come out during hunting season, and then come out again in the summer and bring the family and do the tourist thing. But no, that's cool. But so I've got a question that I always wrap up my podcast with, or try to when I remember it. If you could only hunt one duck, one bird, one way, what's it going to be?
I'm hunting speckled-bellied geese and layout blinds in a wheat field.
That's a new one.
That's where I'm going. Yeah, man.
Nice.
I have had some incredible hunts. I love being underneath those geese. They work like mallards, but they're bigger. You get the opportunity to, you're right there with your buddies. And again, and half of this goes because those are some of my best friends in the world that I get to hunt with. So that makes me really like that a whole lot more. So yeah, laying in the layout blind, hunting speckled-bellied geese with a good dog. You get some cool retrieves, long blinds sometimes when your buddies can't shoot, because it's never me that does that, right?
Absolutely.
Because I didn't shoot, I'm just running the dog, so I can always blame. Yeah, you get the opportunity for some really cool retrieves, some good blinds. It's just good time in the layout blinds. I love it.
Oh, that's cool. That is super cool. Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't had anybody say that one yet. I get a lot of mallards in the timber.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of mallards in a dry field, or honkers in a dry field, or something like that. But yep, specs in a wheat field. I would someday. Yeah, that's bucket list, man. Good for you.
It's a lot of fun. Like I said, they work like a mallard. They communicate like a mallard. They're just bigger than a mallard, but not as big as a honker. So the dogs can run out there fast and come back with them fast. It's all about the dog and the friends for me. So
I get it. Nope, I get it. 100%. You talk about dogs struggling with honkers. Dogs amaze me. I see some of the stuff that dogs do. Mac and I'll run out and they'll jump in the river, swim out, grab a 12 or 13 pound honker, swim back, and then scale an 8-foot bank with it in his mouth. I mean, that'd be the equivalent of you or I carrying 10% of our body weight in our mouth, and I'm like,
just dead weight.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah. So Jared was telling me earlier that Fia has picked up over 50 honkers out there, and Fia's size.
Yeah, so she's not a big dog.
She just knows exactly how to pick them up right in the middle, and she bounces out and comes back just fine. So she's got it figured out now.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot, in different dogs. I've never had a big dog. All my labs have been in that, female or male, have been in that 55 to 65 pound range, and none of them, once they learn how to hold a honker, then none of them have struggled with it. It's like they figure it out, they learn, and then that heart comes into play.
That's right.
That drive comes into play,
Right.
and it's game over. It
That's
is
right.
game over. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of my buddies' dogs that are, you know, big 120-pound monsters, and the way they smoke cripples that's a sight to behold in itself. But
Right.
it's like watching a freaking bear take something down. They just hammer them. And my one buddy had a dog years ago that he was big boy, and there was no positioning the bird just right. He'd just snatch him, and he was just snatch him and run off with him. You know, and that was back in Michigan hunting giant Canadas, you know, and those birds were big. No problem. No problem. But, well, cool. Dude, thank you for being on the podcast with me, for taking the time. And I won't keep you any later than this. It's about 6:00 your time, probably time for supper. But I really appreciate it, Corey.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate the invitation to be here. Appreciate you having me on. And let's get together and share a blind sometime.
I would love that. We will make that happen. So, all right. Well, I'm going to stop recording.